Hey guys, what is going on? Janine here, back for a video. It has been a very long time since I posted a video, mainly because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my YouTube channel. I know a lot of people have YouTube channels and they focus on one specific thing, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think I kind of figured out what I want to start doing, and I think it's just basically randomness and vlogging and talking about different things that I'm doing. So I will talk about some of the weight loss stuff. I know some people were here because I had weight loss surgery a few years ago and they wanted to get information about that. And if you do want to follow me and my best friend I on Instagram, our Instagram is VSG_squared, and you can follow us and we talk about different things about our weight loss surgery. And so I will touch on that a little bit in other videos. Also, I know some people were here because I talked about a lot of fertility stuff, and I will have an update about that. Like I said, follow us on our Instagram page, and I kind of go into that as well. But for a more in-depth video, I'm probably going to do that sometime soon. And also, my personal Instagram is JANINEFLORENCE_. So I guess I love the underscores. I don't know. But anyhow, let's get into this video. So, as I think I actually talked about this in other videos, but I also talk about it on my Instagram. And basically, I love thrifting. And I've been thrifting. It's not something that, became trendy. And I was like, I love thrifting because it became trendy. I have been thrifting since I was a little girl. My mom used to take me to this thrift store in Flushing, Queens. And I can actually still remember the smell of it because it had, if you go thrifting enough, you know that certain thrift stores have like a specific smell. It wasn't a bad smell, but it was just like, because I know sometimes if you get too vintagey, you can have like that vintagey kind of stale smell, but it wasn't like that, okay? So it was just a certain smell, and it seemed like every time I went there, it just kind of like rejuvenated me. And my mom would find some really cool pieces there from like old department stores and everything. And so it was a lot of fun. So I thrifted then when I was a little girl, and then as I grew up, I liked thrifting as well. I used to go with my best friend, and we would, Raquel, we would do a lot of thrift stores and everything like that. And I get super excited when I go to thrift stores because here's the thing, you never know what you're going to find at thrift store. When you go to a regular store, you pretty much know they're going to be on trend with a lot of different things. Like if the teddy bear jacket or coat is in style, you're going to see tons of those. You're going to go to like an Old Navy and they're going to have tons of those and all that stuff. No shade to Old Navy. I love Old Navy leggings, okay? But just the same, when you go to like a lot of like big box stores, they're going to have the same kind of things that are on trend. Whereas with thrift stores, you never really know what you're going to find. And you may find something that was on trend before that you may have, you weren't able to find it, and you didn't want to pay that price that it was. And now you can go to a thrift store and find it for cheaper, and, you could have that throwback kind of trend from whatever. So my thing is, I absolutely love vintage clothing. And now when I say vintage clothing, I would say vintage clothing from like 90s and before. Okay, because I feel like the quality of clothing has kind of decreased and kind of just, it's not as good. And also, like, a lot of things just started to look the same after a while. Like, everyone was kind of replicating the same style. So, like, for example, this is they're fine. This is, I believe, a Liz Claiborne thrifted dress. I got a mirror behind the camera so I can see, but it's got these big buttons, it's got these like shoulder things here, this print, it's very classy, but at the same time you can actually kind of toughen it up and modernize it also. Like, I would wear this with probably a pair of Doc Martens and a leather jacket, or you can put it with a blazer, heels, whatever you want to do. And that's the fun thing about, and you can do with newer things too, but I don't know, I just like having like a little bit of old with new, and it just kind of like gives it that extra kick. So anyways, with that being said, that was a long thing. So 3 years ago I had weight loss surgery, and I had a lot of clothes that I was getting and everything, and I lost over 100 pounds, and I had a lot of things that I needed to sell. So I said to myself, what can I do with them? I can either thrift them back, or get them to people who may want them, who are looking for certain things. I did thrift a lot of stuff back. And let me tell you something. I know a lot of other Poshmark sellers say the same thing. You think about like, damn, why did I freaking thrift that thing back? But I feel like what goes around comes around. You might have sent something to the thrift store and you're like, man, what I did. Someone else that is not a reseller or someone else that just needed it, you know, definitely probably found it and got something really cute and in good condition and everything. Because that's another thing. I feel like, yes, it's fun to resell, but you also have to know there are people that go to thrift stores because they need to go to thrift stores. It's not because it's just the trendy thing to do or, you know, whatever. Some people do need to go to places that have decent things at a good price. So, want to keep that out there. But anyhow, so I had all these clothing that was like bigger than the size that I was now. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do Poshmark. I was a little afraid, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to kind of research it. So I downloaded the app. I kind of navigated it and everything. I was still hella intimidated. And then I spoke to my husband and he was like, you know what? Just do it. Just do it. So I did. I went through my closet, and I also had a couple of things that I thrifted that was my size, my current size. But I was like, you know, I found these things and I got like kind of my thrifter high, but I didn't really know where I was going to wear them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put some of those things on there as well. And that's what I did. So I put some of my stuff that I had from before I lost weight, and then some things that I thrifted that I'm just like, yeah, I don't know where I thought I was going with this gown or something, because I'm like a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl. Sometimes I'll wear something a little fancy, but it's not like extremely fancy. So anyhow, so I did that. So I have a couple of tips that I want to go down. It's not really like, I may do like a 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm just going to kind of like give you the gist of everything. And it's on my phone. Sorry about that if I'm looking down. But my first tip is get started. Go on the app, you like download the app, and then just get started. Okay. Just list a few things. You don't have to feel like everyone's going to tell you that you need like 100 items and all this other stuff. Just list what you have so you're not out there having to like buy a whole bunch of things. Go through if you want to go through your personal closet or if things that you want to thrift or whatever, but just start it. Just start it and put things up. Okay. The next thing I will say is, I should have put this in better order. The next thing I will say is, once you list your stuff, make sure, this is something I learned. Make sure when you list stuff that when you have the size, you have the material of the item. Even if it's just taking a picture of the actual item, like the actual tag, I would say you can put that in the description because that helps like with searches and everything. You want to have your search, you want to have your search information as far as your keywords, like if it's a dress, if it's a you know, a sleeveless dress, a floral dress, you want to have like as many things you can use as you think people are going to be searching. Like think about what you search for when you're looking for a certain thing, okay? So you want to do that. And then next thing, which I learned, make sure you put your measurements. Yes, you can put Old Navy dress. I keep saying Old Navy, sorry guys. You could say, you know, it's an express skirt, size 2, size 4, whatever. Here's the thing. Sizes vary with different brands and different cuts, different materials. So you have to put your measurements. I found myself having to go back out of my stash, which I will get into that also, going through and having to measure things. So and when I say measure things, you want to get as many measurements as you possibly can, even if you have the size. Okay, so, excuse me. For example, for like this dress, you're going to do shoulder to shoulder, pit to pit. You're going to do the waist. You're going to do the hips. I sometimes do like the sleeve length because people like to know where the sleeve is going to hit them. I do the full length. This is a dress. So I do the full length of the item as well, even if it's for a sweater or shirt, whatever. So you want to put as many measurements as you possibly can. I do it as a flat lay. Make sure you tell people it is, if you measure as a flat lay, make sure you tell people that. Just put it in your description and there you go. Because I had so many listings that people were like, oh, it's cute, it's a medium. What are the measurements? And I'm like, what do you mean? So you definitely want to do that because then that's double the work. So if you get all that done, you get your titles, your keywords, your material, your measurements, your size. And the next thing is make sure your pictures are good. When I first started also, I was doing pictures in ill lighting, and it wasn't really like, it wasn't showing off the clothes to the best ability that I could. So I had to actually, once again, take my stuff back out, and this is going to take time also because some people have like a cohesive setting where they have all their pictures. They may do all their pictures in front of a white wall and that's it. Some people may they do it only on a mannequin, or they only do hang up, or they do flat lays. So you want to figure out what you're going to do. Right away, it may not happen because I've changed different things. Now I have like a setup, but sometimes I get a little a little off with the setup because I feel like sometimes the wall that I take the pictures on, it kind of changes things. Like it's a orange yellow wall, which I would not recommend. And I have to usually go into an app to kind of like fix the lighting and all that stuff. I have studio lights, and I also use natural light. So you also want to figure things out like that. So I have realized that when I take new pictures of the same exact item, all of a sudden I start getting offers, and then I get paid. I get it like sold or whatever. So you do want to make sure that you're putting your clothing and your items or whatever it is in the best, lighting, and you do all that good stuff. So those are those tips. And let's see what another one is. Oh, okay. Talking about vintage dress. So that was another thing. The reason why I was kind of hesitant about selling on Poshmark. A lot of people were like, oh, you have to have certain brands, like the ones that are trendy, like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and all this, and Free People. You have to have everything Free People. And so I was just like, but most of my stuff is not like, because to be honest, I go with what I think is nice. I'm not really a name brand hog. I don't really care about finding things that has to be like I said, of the trend, or having like big logos on my stuff. I really don't care for that. So a lot of my stuff was like vintage stuff, and I was like, I don't know, maybe Poshmark isn't the venue for me. A lot of people were saying sell on Etsy for vintage stuff. A lot of people were saying do eBay, but eBay intimidates me. I've never even purchased or sold anything on eBay before. It's always intimidated me. So I would say, have what you have, do all the steps that you can do as far as like your pictures, your titles, your measurements, your everything, like I said before, and just do it. Because I find that there are a lot of people on Poshmark that are looking for vintage. Because once again, unfortunately, a lot of people do want things that are unique, one of a kind, and that's what vintage gives you. People like the whole trendy thing as far as like saying that something is vintage, and they like being unique about stuff, because it's one of those things where you can have like these new like boots or something, and then you just throw in this like vintage dress, and it's like, oh my god, where'd you get that from? It's vintage. So it's one of those things. So don't feel like you can't sell vintage on Poshmark. I have, and I see a lot of other people have. I follow a lot of those closets because I'm just like obsessed with vintage. So yeah. Another thing is, and that's, so I kind of like put those together. Don't feel like you just have to have like the main name brands. With saying that, there is an overabundance of, I see a lot of people have Free People and all this other stuff. And so you kind of, and yes, they are different, sometimes like different things, but it kind of floods it a little bit. And, I feel like you could have a couple of pieces that, are the common ones and the trendier ones, that's fine. But I think having a unique closet is kind of cool also. So don't feel bad if you don't have like those name brands. The next one that I have is, so in the app, I'm not sure how many people have, I just read a quick one. When you're listing your items, if there are any like, for example, I can show you this right here. I had to put a pin here because the button was missing, because it's thrifted. It's thrifted and it's vintage. So, it's been around for a while. So the button is on this side. Where is it? There's a big button right here. There's a button on this side. This one was actually missing. So when you are selling on Poshmark, you want to disclose that. You do not want to like just be like, oh, it's in perfect condition and it's vintage. You want people to know that that button is missing, because it's one of those things where they may not care. They may just be like, okay, I'll just find another button and it's whatever. Or they may pin it just like I did it. But you want to disclose if there's any stains or any kind of like holes, or missing buttons, or zipper doesn't work. So make sure you do that too, because that'll really help you. You do not want to get bad reviews because of that. So you want to always inspect your stuff. I'll go right into the next one. So when I get my stuff from the thrift store, I steam it. I steam everything. And while I'm steaming it, I make sure I have really good lighting, because I'm looking for, not only am I steaming it, but I'm looking for any flaws as far as like stains, and I'm checking the zippers, I'm counting the buttons, I'm closing them, making sure everything's there, making sure there's no missing strings, or strings that if I pull it, it's going to like drape like a disaster and the whole thing's going to fall apart. So that's another thing. Like, everyone does their stuff different. I know some people actually wash clothes when they get their stuff. The reason why I steam it is because I don't really want to put any fabric, like softener or detergent on something. A lot of people have allergies. Some people are sensitive to certain smells. So I just like to get all of that like thrift store smell out of it, get any germs out of it. So I just steam those bad boys. I have two steamers. I have a handheld one and I have a bigger one that my mom gave me. Awesome. So I would say definitely that's something that you may want to invest in. Like I said, while you're steaming, just go through your stuff and you know, check pockets, do all that good stuff. Okay, so the next thing, now that I just talked about, I feel like I'm just going on and you know, I'm gonna get to the next item. Okay, so the next thing is on the app, you want to be pretty active. You want to be, you know, active. You want to interact with other people. There's the share button. You share your own closet, like your items. You have to do each item at a time. And you also can go to your feed and you can share other people's stuff, follow them, stay very active on the app. The more you share, the better. And then Poshmark has like parties. And basically the parties will be like, for example, it'll be like, what's going on with my lipstick? It'll be like a coats and jacket party. So all of the coats and jackets you have in your closet, you would share it to that. So then people will go specifically in that party because it saves, and they can go through and they can see like what coats were shared or whatever. Whenever there's a party, I most likely, if I have an item that fits in that party, I will try it. If it's like something like a Patagonia, I don't have any Patagonia in my closet. So, or like sports or North Face or something. If I don't have it, I don't participate in the party. But I will still do like look at the party and share people's stuff to my followers. So, and then sometimes I'll just go into there, see somebody's item, and then I'll even go to their actual closet and follow them and share more of their things that are not like within that party. So you want to do that as well. So like I said, you want to comment on people's things, and if people ask you questions about your items, you want to try to respond to them, you know, go back and forth and try to like, you know, just seem more active. You want, because people, they want to make sure that you are who you are and, you know, all that good stuff. You know how the social media world works, you know, you want to make sure you're talking to an actual person. Another thing is, there was just one more, I just saw it. So I said sharing is caring, self-sharing is sharing other people's closet. Be active, follow people, and shop on the app. Definitely shop on the app. I've shopped on the app. I love actually looking for items. I found a pair of Reebok Classics. I've been looking for Reebok Classics for the longest, and I found a pair of Reebok Classics on there. I got some stuff for my nephew. I've found like a lot of different things, and I have tons of favorites. I'm probably gonna get some more like boots and stuff like that. I love looking at all the vintage things. So definitely shop on the app, you know, and just keep going around on the app. So that's an awesome thing to keep doing. Another thing is, okay, now I'm going to talk about pricing as well. So with pricing, I was a little confused with the pricing structure when I first got onto Poshmark. And now I'm still kind of, mind you, I'm still like in my first like year of being on Poshmark. So I'm not like a Poshmark guru. I'm still in my first year and I'm learning as I go. So I've learned that with pricing on Poshmark, you want to go a little high, only because most people, when they like things, because people are going to they'll either like your item or they'll just purchase it outright, which I've had some people just purchase things outright, which is awesome. But, so they'll like an item, and most people, when they like an item, they're waiting for you to send them an offer for that item. So basically, let's give an example. So let's say I was selling this dress and I priced it at $40. Someone's gonna like it, and then I may, depending on what it is, I may send an offer of $36, $38, $35 and do discount shipping. You can either do free shipping or discount shipping. So you kind of want to grasp that. And I believe Poshmark takes 20% of your sales. So you want to think about that also. Where I go to get my like items, I'm not really paying that much for them, but at the same time, I still want to make a profit. You know, this is like my side thing, and you know, so I still want to make a profit, especially since it's items like the vintage stuff. It's not really things that people can find anymore. So I try to take that into account as well. So you want to price it so you have enough to go down. Some people will probably be like, did she just say $40 for that vintage dress? And I'll be like, yeah. And some people will be like, that's not enough. And some people will be like, that's way too expensive. I mean, to be honest, I've seen dresses like this in people's closets for like $75. And I know that some of them may get $75 and some of them may get like $50 because they're going to keep coming down and you know, someone's eventually going to buy it. So yeah, you want to price so that you know that you're okay with that 20% that Poshmark's going to take out, and also you have enough to come down for offers to offer people. And I think a good, you want to be able to go down at least 2 or 3 times, as far as like pricing. And then at that point, if people still have not purchased, that's when you probably need to relist, or just let it sit for a little bit, and then, keep sharing it. But if you're not really getting, a lot of like new likes on it, or, shares on it, I would say relist it. A lot of people relist. At first, when people said they relist, and I was like, but you have people that liked it. Like, why would you relist it? That's crazy. So one thing I do, whenever somebody likes an item in my closet, I do follow them. So, just to keep that kind of connection going, even if they don't have items in their closet, I still follow them. But, yeah, if an item has likes on it and those people still are just kind of sitting on it and not purchasing, just relist it, because you want to bump it back up to the top as a new listing. And if you're at your bottom where you're like, okay, I can't offer any more off of this, then you got to just relist it, because at that point it's just going to kind of sit. And if no one else is liking it, then you just need to refresh it, maybe change your pictures up a little bit, change your keywords and everything. Or if everything is fine with those, I would just say go ahead and copy and paste it, take your pictures, pop it back up, and relist it. So that's another thing that you can do. The next thing, let's see. Okay. That was another thing with pricing. As far as like comps, some people do like some people like they'll check comps on the app to see what other people are pricing things as. And at first, like, okay, I still do that, but I don't really take it for the word, because here's the thing. There's two things that you can do with your pricing once you list something. You can, let me just check. You can send offers to likers, and that's when, like, if you have something at $40 and you send all your likers of that item, like a discounted, price or whatever. Or you can drop the price. So the problem with sometimes checking comps is that you don't know if that person has dropped their price because they're trying to get it out. So let's say, for example, if it's a Free People like cardigan that you have the same exact one, and they have it at like $35, but originally they had it at $50. Now you're going to see that comp and you're going to price it at $35, and that may be, putting yourself in a situation where now you have to go down from $35. So another thing to do, a really like important thing to do, is when you look for comps, go to what is listed, like, unsold, and then go to sold. See what people actually sold the item for. Okay, when you go into the app, you want to do that, because you want to actually see what they sold, what the item went for, not just what people are pricing it for, because you don't know at what point of their selling process they're in. They can be like, that was just posted yesterday, or they could be at like their lowest right now and then they're about to relist it. So you want to check what something sold for. Okay. And the next thing is with when you finally get an item sold, you want to try to sell it as quickly as possible. And that's something I'm still working on, because this is my side thing. I own a company with my husband, so that's our full-time thing. I'm doing this as a side thing. So I try to make sure that I can get things out as quickly as possible. I'm trying to, and you can look at like your average like sales, your average, like all your stats. And that's one thing that I'm actually trying to improve on for the next year. I want to get my sales like out like right away. Okay. So you want to try to do that, because people, when they buy stuff, they want to actually get it right away. That's just the world that we live in now. Like, people are not trying to wait like 7 days for something. They want it. They order it and they want it like within 3 days, 3 or 4 days. So, and maybe even more, probably even less, like 2 days. So it's probably 2 days. So, you want to try to like make sure you have a good system in getting things out and everything. And don't make promises you can't keep. Don't say, oh, I order stuff, I send stuff out within 24 hours. If you can't keep that promise, do not say that. Okay. Another thing, as you guys can see behind me, this is where I store my Poshmark stuff. This has been, a trying thing. As a Poshmarker, if you have more than like 50 items in your closet, the whole organization system can like either like drive you crazy, or it can really drive you insane. So you have to figure out what you want to do as far as like your organization. So when I first started, I had things just in like in bins. So, and I didn't label anything. I didn't label anything. That was so crazy of me. Why did I do that? And so I would steam them, hang them to dry, take pictures of them, and then I would put them in the bin. Like, you know, it was all like a 2-day process because I like to hang things to dry and air dry and get all that good stuff. So I would take pictures of them and then put them in a bin. But when people ordered stuff, I'm like, what bin was it in? Oh my God, what bin was it in? And I'm like, I'm doing like the anxiety search, and it was just too much. So then I wrote down what everything was on top of the bin. On the bin itself, I had like the names of, okay, this was in this bin or whatever. But I'm still like, I know I said it was in here. I know it was in here. I'm still like ruffling through clothes and everything. So then my husband was like, you need to just get the priority mail things and stick them in there. So basically what I do now on the app, and I can show you guys really quick because I keep talking about the app. So I'm going to go to an item really quick. Hold on. As it crashes. That happens sometimes. And if you're in the middle of putting up a listing and Poshmark crashes, X out the app and go back in because it's gonna give you issues. It's gonna be annoying. Okay. So like right now, that's the party that's going on. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says like outdoor party. So if you had stuff, you would put it in that party. So in my closet, which is right here. Okay. And I try to really keep it cohesive with the pictures and the coloring. Oh no, I think I'm about to run out of time. Oh no. The thing is beeping. So, okay guys, I'm going to talk about this in another separate video as far as listing, but definitely make sure when you list stuff that you put the little number in the listing and then put it on your bin. I will talk to you guys in the next video. My camera's about to go off. I'm so sorry. So, part 2 of Poshmark coming, okay? Bye!